This car is going back to the dyno in 2 weeks, a week and a half, whenever Josh comes back. And we are turning the car up more. Now that the Mustang dyno works and it's reading, we can get accurate horsepower numbers for this car on a Mustang dyno. I know some of you guys are gonna be like, just put it on the dyno jet. The dyno jet is not in the question right now. It's going back on the Mustang dyno. But I have a big problem with the car, and the car drops oil pressure above 7,000 RPM. If you look at the last driving video of this car, which I don't even remember when it's been down for like 2 weeks, above 7,000 RPM, oil pressure drop. And I had a feeling this was gonna happen. I talked with Jeremy at Outfront, I've talked to Josh, I've talked to a handful of other builders. These 12mm pumps at high RPM have a tendency to cavitate and not flow oil when they're supposed to. Now, is there any immediate danger? No. As long as I kept the car under 7,000 RPM, it would be fine. But we wanna see this car make power, we wanna see it go to the moon, and we wanna see it do the stuff and the thing. So we need to fix this thing and do all the maintenance on it. Now, the problem that I currently have with the car is I can't get the oil pump off because our current crank sprocket was made a little bit too small on the inner diameter. I've got the replacement one right here with a slightly larger ID on this thing. I've tried heating this thing up, I've tried drilling it, I've tried putting a puller tool on here, and it's slowly starting to come off. You guys can see the gap, but I think we're gonna end up having to resort to cutting it off, unfortunately. Now, before we jump straight to cutting it off, I am gonna go ahead, try heating this up one more time and pulling it off again. I'm really going to let the heat from the torches get on there. Let's try this one more time. Where I put studs on it, and it seems to be, it's coming off. I can see it coming off. But I had to up drill the holes even more and then stud it. Oh no! It's probably not a smart idea to be using 2 torches around a whole bunch of aluminum dust and paper towels, but we are risking it for the biscuit right now, dude. Yes! Yes! Oh, there it goes. Holy shit, dude. Holy bananas, dude, that sucked. All right. Well, our bearings still look okay, so I'm still feeling pretty good about all this. This is the oil pump we are throwing on. It's got the 78 indication there. This is a shimmed and ported 11mm oil pump from Outfront. This should not cavitate at all for what we're doing. Just a quick wipe down just to make sure that there's no grease, oils, or anything. These pumps do come pre-packed from Outfront. So, and I can already see and feel on the inside when I spun this to get it lined up with the crank that it does have grease in it. So we should be good for that. So with this being shimmed and ported, we should get all the flow we need, and we should honestly probably see a small bump in oil pressure as well, which is never a bad thing. I mean, it can be a bad thing if you have too much oil pressure, but for this example, we should be all right. As long as you don't pop out again, because it wants to fucking just fall out. Torque wrench. Beautiful. 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 Go. Pretty happy with that. Woohoo! Look at that, man. Is this still warm? I did still have to heat this one up. It doesn't burn my hand, so we're probably good to time it then. So pretty much just went right on. We should still all be in time. We have our timing mark. I gotta like look through this hole. I'll double check all of our timing marks, make sure our timing is good across the engine. Like I said, there's only this gear, that gear, and that gear that we gotta get in line. Then we have an idler here and an idler there. So it's pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy to time these things. It's kind of like just timing a single overhead cam engine. So I am gonna go ahead, time this thing up. We can get the timing covers on, then we gotta do spark plugs, reassemble the entire front end of this thing, which honestly isn't too bad to do. The whole core support goes in and out. So let's time it And then from there, we'll verify it, make sure everything spins over good. Spark plugs, you know, the whole kit and caboodle. Timing belt, does this still have markings? It does, look at that. Start to turn this over slowly to start. Oh yeah, dude, it's getting tight. It's a little bit loose feeling right here, but tensioner should continue to pull out tension. So I'm sorry I was not as involved as I wanted to be going through that with you guys. It's just with this, I wanted to be 100% attention on the engine, making sure that everything was golden, everything was minty, and everything was perfect. Timing spot on. Our crank sprocket looks good. We have a brand new fluid damper on there. For now, we're just gonna continue reassembly. So before we jump to reassembly, it's about 7 o'clock right now. I want dinner, so we're gonna talk about today's video partner, our guys over at Factor. Now, if you're someone like me where you don't have a lot of time to go grocery shopping, you order a lot of takeout food, you know that that can get expensive relatively quickly. Factor is a great solution to that problem. These meals are specifically designed and tailored to your needs. You go on their site, you can set up your plan, you can cancel that plan or adjust your plan as needed whenever you need to. They get delivered straight to your door. They're super easy to make, as you guys saw. Pull it out of the cardboard, poke a whole bunch of holes in it, toss it in the microwave for 2 minutes. After that 2 minutes, pull it out, pull out the plastic. If you want to be fancy, go ahead, toss it on a plate, toss it in a bowl. Or if you're like me and you just don't have dishes at your shop and you eat at your shop, you just eat it out of here. It's on the go, it's great. Now, if you're somebody who has a little bit more of a strict diet, like maybe you're keto, pescatarian, you don't eat certain meats or anything like that, like I said, you can tailor that diet to what you want. It's pretty nice. Today, we're rocking with a loaded bacon and shredded chicken entree, which honestly, this thing looks tasty. We got a nice sauce over the top of it as well. I've been a huge fan of these. Like, a lot of people are like super skeptical of this stuff. I know some of you guys try Factor, some of you guys have used it as well. And I know those people will kind of back up that these things actually do taste good. Dude, it's better than the fast food that I would normally get on the way to the shop. Like, I can't complain with it, and it's healthy for me, which is another big thing. They also have options like gourmet meals, protein plus meals. If you're someone who goes to the gym a lot and need extra protein, they got you covered. So if Factor is something that you guys are considering, head over to www.factor75.com, use discount code Smeedia50, and that'll get you 50% off your first box. And there will be a link down in the description for you guys as well. So, huge thank you to our guys over at Factor. I'm gonna go ahead and eat my dinner, and we're gonna jump back on this STI and get this thing ready to run. Get it ready to go back to the dyno and make some power. So now that Humpty Dumpty's all put back together, we need to do maintenance. And that is going to include new spark plugs and an oil change. Aside from that, everything else should be minty. We've already done the oil pump. We've already got it retimed. We've already got all the front end stuff put back on. To do the oil change, it's a little annoying. This car takes 11 or 13 quarts, 8, 9, 10, 11. It takes 11 quarts of oil. And we have to fill up the oil cooler separate from the engine. We need to fill up the AccuSump. So it's gonna sound really weird, but cylinders 2 and 4 are really easy, and 3 and 5 are really easy. 1 and 6 are the hardest. 1 is the hardest because I have a fucking turbo right in the way, so I gotta do that one from underneath of the car. 2 and 4 are pretty easy. 6 is pretty close to the frame rail. I can do it, it's just kind of annoying to do. So we have these NGK one-step coulter plugs. These are EG specific. These are 3764. We have 4 right here, 2 in this box. I'm gonna have to order more of these. They do not take NGK 2309s. I found that out the hard way last time. That plug is too long and it will physically hit the piston. Don't use those plugs. If you are an EG33 guy and you want one-step coulter plugs, 3764, there's the full part number right there from NGK. So we're gonna get all these gapped. I don't know what I'm gonna gap them to yet. I'm gonna gap them pretty tight though, so that way we don't have spark blowout. I'm gonna gap these after, we'll just start pulling plugs out. We'll get all the plugs out and then we'll start gapping the new ones and putting them in. So we're gonna start over here on the driver's side, just kind of work our way over to the passenger side. Don't look bad. There it is. A lot of people ask me what filters I run. I literally just run OEM Subaru filters. I don't run anything crazy or fancy or whatnot. OEM Subaru, they get the job done just fine. All 6 spark plugs changed, really actually not too bad. So all the old ones right here, they all look pretty similar across the board. I mean, E85 plugs that have just been abused for their entire life. So not bad. I will say it was actually easier to change cylinder 1 spark plug right there than I thought it would be. When I had the 6870, a smaller turbo, it sat down lower and closer to the engine and it made doing that spark plug such a pain in the ass, but the 7675, I could just do it from right here. So bigger turbo equals a win for changing spark plugs. Made it way easier. Now we can go ahead and throw on our last charge pipe that goes from the intake manifold down here, and then we can start putting oil in this thing. Okay, not what I wanted. There we go. Break that guy free. Take off our oil fill cap tube. The oil fill funnel. And we can start putting in 8 quarts. Let that do its thing for a minute. It's 2050, so it definitely takes a minute to get down to the pan. 8 quarts in. So at this point, we should be pretty much ready to start this thing up. We have everything hooked back up, new belt on here, everything's nice and tight. I got the coolant funnel on to be able to burp this car. I'm just waiting for the last of this oil to go down to finish burping the oil cooler. It's not, like I said, it's not 100% required if you have an oil cooler at home. It's just, I took everything apart and I drained all this stuff. Normally on a regular oil change, I wouldn't be doing this, but since we took it all apart, we kind of have to do it. So it's just kind of a waiting game at this point, waiting for the oil cooler to fill up. Once the oil cooler is all filled up, we'll hook it up the last line to it, get this thing started, get it burped to verify everything is good, and then this car should at that point be ready to go to the dyno again. Like I said, we are going to be turning this thing up. We have a dyno that is going to be reading accurately now. It is the Mustang dyno, but a Mustang dyno that's working is better than a Mustang dyno that's not working, or dyno that's not working in general. So hopefully this will finish in the next 10 minutes and then we can just get this thing started. I haven't heard this car fire up in quite a while, so, and I'm curious to see what it's gonna do for oil pressure and everything like that with that new ported and shimmed 11 pump on there. So crank it over a couple times just to get the oil pump spinning.
Perfectly straight.
Ready to make some more salt! All right, I'm gonna take this thing out real quick to drive it around the complex. I forgot the GoPro at home. I don't have a second person, so I apologize, you guys. No driving footage today of this thing, but I just need to go verify everything's solid. It's just a cool sight for me to see. Granted, that one's gonna be disappearing soon. This is just a cool sight. STI is doing great. I'm just kind of letting it idle right now. Its coolant temp is hanging out around 186, 187, which is spot on for where this car should be. Yeah, still sitting at 186. Oil pressure's looking good at 44 PSI at idle. Like I said, it's a ported and shimmed out front 11mm pump. It's doing great. So just kind of letting it do its thing right now. God, dude, it looks so fucking good. I love this car. I'm trying to figure out which cars I want to put on the lift. But hey, guess what? We didn't drop oil pressure above 7,000. It knocked my my American flag off the wall. Sorry about that, America. After playing car shuffle, we've got all the cars back in here. RX-7, WRX STI. Some people were asking what the hell's going on with the RX-7, why we haven't done anything with it lately, and why it's just kind of sitting. Answer to that is we're just waiting on parts for it. Over the past 2 weeks, I want to say I've spent roughly $2,000 to $3,000 on OEM Mazda stuff alone for the car. That is going to include things like new belt moldings here, drip guards, door seals, inner door seals, a whole bunch of like OEM replacement stuff. That way I can just get the car to 100% where I want it, because we're gonna strip it back down. We're gonna fix a lot of the stuff wrong with the chassis alone. We're gonna swap to the 99 spec front bumper. Entire car is gonna be repainted. I just wanna make it like my perfect RX-7. The guys over at DC Power were kind enough to send us one of their big boy alternators for the RX-7, very similar to the one that I have on the STI. I love those alternators. They do fantastic. I've got the 270 amp on the EG. I ran their 180 amp on the old 05 STI, and we're gonna be running that one on this RX-7. So there's just a lot of stuff coming in for it. These cars for OEM Mazda stuff and aftermarket stuff is just ridiculously expensive. I got in some of the other little carbon fiber bits that I was wanting, like the little fender garnish for down there, a whole bunch of like little stuff here and there. I still need side skirts. I want to get the feed hood for it. Like I said, 99 spec front bumper. It's just expensive. These cars are like double the cost of Subaru parts. So it's just taken me a little while to accumulate the funds to be able to get all the parts that I need for it. But that's all I got for you guys on this one. STI, ready to go back to the dyno. We are going to be turning that car up quite a bit. I'm curious to, and we have a dyno that actually works, so I'm curious to see. We're gonna run a baseline on it, see how much power it makes, and then from there, turn it up some more and kind of see how it does. So, woo! Like I said, that's all I got for you guys. I'm headed out. I've been here all day the past 2 days getting this car done, ready to go, and just just at a minty point. So I'm comfortable and I'm happy with the car again. So with that, that's all I got for you guys on this one. If you like the video, you know what to do. Go ahead and hit that like button, turn it black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver, sight, and whatever color it turns for you. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, you want to be, put in one of these corners. No idea which one quite yet. But with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, homies.